We are a group of friends, bound by our appreciation for liberty and good podcasting. Free-minded thinkers from all walks of life, our values come together with one accord to discuss the common culture and news of the day, along with whatever random crap is going on in our lives. Welcome to the Union of the Unknowns.
Welcome to another edition of the Union of the Unknowns, where we have our whole group, of course, that came together through Discord, and we are going to be touching on the satanic culture today, as well as libertarianism in regards to how it relates to Christianity and religions. So this is going to be pretty awesome. So I just want to go ahead and give everyone an opportunity again to introduce themselves. So why don't we go ahead and start with Ashley, and then we'll go across the board and give Toons a second to figure out what he wants to say.
Hey, it's Ashley. Also, Think, Change, Repeat. And I think we said last time, but we came together through our Discord, through the best podcasts, the Propaganda Report. So shout out to Monica Perez and Brad Binkley. I really appreciate both of them for the work that they did for us and for bringing us together. You people are some of my favorite people, so I'm grateful.
Oh, I call it your Propaganda Report mug. Ism Kant, and he is the creator part of today's topic.
Just Ism Kant. I'm just white-pilled central, and you ain't ever gonna bring me down.
Love it.
I don't know what else to say other than that.
Toons.
Hey, I'm Toons from the free state of New Hampshire. I'm a husband, soon to be father. I've been lately really thinking about the word libertarian, and I've been thinking about, where that fits in my life and how flawed of an idea it is. I got a whole bunch of chickens around me too, so sorry about any roosters, but I'm a construction worker. I'm a blue collar guy. I swear like a sailor, so sorry for any sensitive ears, and look forward to talking to you all.
Sure, it won't be worse than the amount of F words I said in the last one, so don't worry about it.
Good. I'm in good company.
Let's go for it, actually.
Go ahead, Terry.
So I was the worst culprit with the F words last time. Sorry about that. I'm Terry, aka Terrence, living in the Spanish Canary Islands with this brand new volcano that's arrived behind me. So, and that literally is behind me.
So cool.
The token Brit.
The token Brit. Okay. Oh yes, you are. You add the wisdom to the group. Well, some of us just add savageness and some pretty good thought.
It's just, it's the accent that's fooling you, and that's all it is.
Very exotic.
And then
Gives us some flair.
and then our normie Keel Thor.
Yeah,
No.
Keel or Keel Thor.
Normie.
I'm not a normie, I promise. Don't be afraid. Just a libertarian guy who likes conspiracy theories and is a part of the same Prop Report Discord that everybody else is.
Yep. So awesome. Yay. So excited. So Justin, it's both on there, but Ism Kant. So tell us a little bit about like what you want to talk about in regards to the satanic culture. Like, what were your thoughts?
Well, can I jump off topic real quick first? And
Do whatever you want.
Has there been the Georgia Guidestones? Has there been any investigation into that or anything? With the blowing them up?
I haven't heard anything new, but I haven't been looking. So.
It's just one of those things that seems like if it had happened anywhere else, it would oh, this is clearly domestic terrorism. We have to unleash the entire DOJ and millions upon millions of dollars to find out what this is. But no one's heard nothing's happened since, so I don't know. Did the banks blow it
Maybe
up?
it was actually perpetrated by the deep state. So you know, to sort of remove the evidence. But the only thing I heard about it was that the time capsule that was supposed to be below, nobody's heard anything about that. So either it wasn't found or it was found and they're keeping the contents secret.
Well, the story is they dug it up and there was nothing down there. They reported that the Georgia red clay that's, you know, layers deep was not disturbed. So it
Well,
seems like nothing was ever put there.
Well, wasn't there a camera that was on the Guidestones before it was blown up? Was the excavation of the site on video, was that live streamed as well?
Probably. I didn't watch it personally.
We might have to dig into this a little bit and revisit it at a later date.
Good question.
Yeah, we should do a follow-up on the next episode.
The fact that they blew it up afterwards has some of the hallmarks of some of these other dodgy events, doesn't it? Like, you know, 9/11 and that school shooting that we're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
In fact, and other shootings that we're not allowed to talk about. They all seem to destroy the evidence straight after and, you know, take it away. I don't know if they've been taken away, but
Agree. I followed
it's a bit fishy.
Fishy, exactly.
I feel like that's a pretty good start off to just the satanic culture in general. And let me go ahead and start with what my definition of Satanism is, which is just a lack of God in general, not necessarily any specific religion or no religion, just that there is nothing else beyond us. Because once you start looking at the world, at life as this is the only thing that matters, that's when you're going to have people start quoting the greater good as a means to really, I mean, everything between genocide to thievery. That really covers everything in between. And you just look at the Georgia Guidestones, number 1 on there, I believe, is to maintain humanity under 500 million people, which is, we're at what, 7-8 billion at this point. So that would require, I mean, that would put Hitler, Stalin, and Mao combined to shame.
But it goes also against the word of God that says be fruitful and multiply.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I do consider myself to be a Christian. Caveat, I have never read the Bible. I don't go to church regularly, or really at all, to be honest. Not that I have anything against church, but I don't like going out and being around other people. Even at my mom's funeral service, it felt kind of culty to me. But that's neither here nor there. But really, just I feel that the satanic culture has really led us to where we are now, as far as everything. We're literally mutilating sexual organs of children, and at the same time, like, it's just insanity to where we are now.
I had never considered that tie-in where you just went with it. That's an interesting point that if people do not believe in a creator or an afterlife, or, you know, just the selfishness that comes with that is how lockdowns came about, masks came about. You know, why are we for 2 years, you know, the children are what we're supposed to be looking out for, and we're going to shut down schools. We're going to convince them that the air is poison. Be scared of the air. Be scared of your neighbor. Be scared of people. Be scared of going outside. And that's an interesting tie-in that, like, if you don't believe there is an ultimate power, if you don't believe that there's anything other than, I said to somebody recently that if your goal in life is, you know, PP cummies and likes on Facebook, then of course you have to shut down the country, because I have to make my meat suit last as long as I can, because I got to get as many likes on Facebook and as many PP cummies before I die. So I mean, I didn't realize that was your angle on Satan, the Satanism question, but that definitely gives me something to think about.
Yeah, I want to say something actually. I think I would have in the past considered myself an atheist, but I don't think of myself like that anymore. But I want to draw a distinction between atheism and Satanism, because there's a difference between not believing there's a God and, you know, kind of worshipping evil entities, which is what I think a lot of these elites might be up to, and, you know, sort of channeling evil in that way. So, you know, some of the things we're talking about, you know, the bad stuff they're doing with children and the bad stuff they inflicted on us with lockdowns, you would say that's more, it's not like they're being neutral about it, they're actually being positively evil. And, you know, you hear these stories about how they're doing these worshipping Baal ceremonies and, you know, maybe even child sacrifices, and who knows what they get up to. But it looks like, when you look at things like the spirit cooking with Marina Abramovich and all the strange things they get up to, it really looks like they are actually satanic in the real sense of the word, in that they're worshipping some sort of evil entity that they're trying to bring into the world.
I would say that evil entity is themselves, right? They're worshipping whatever gets them the most meat suit human pleasure at this moment. So yeah, like you said, atheists don't believe in anything. They believe in worshiping themselves, which is the Satanist tie-in, I guess.
If I could chime in on that. I believe that they actually, I do think that what they are serving or what they are attempting to serve is themselves, but I actually believe it is actual Satan. It is actual evil that they are worshiping to gain whatever they can on this earthly plane. And shout out to Cyprian. He does talk about serving the prince of this world, which I really literally believe is Satan. And I think that these people will do anything that they can to serve their goal, which is themselves, which is dominating other people and, you know, gaining from others to enrich themselves. And they don't seem to have a problem with any type of evil that they need to do in order to make that happen.
Yeah, I think we're talking about, there's two aspects to Satanism, as I understand it. There's what Justin was talking about, the atheistic Satanism, and then there's what Ashley's saying is the actual worship of Satan, as in the antithesis of God, you know.
Yes.
Where you have, you know, the classic visual of the dark robes and the cult worship and the shrines and all that kind of stuff. What I think most people do, though, is not the worship of Satan itself, but the atheistic aspect of it. And I think that's what Anthony LaVey created in the 60s, was that type of atheistic stuff. He wrote the Satanic Bible, which I know I've read at least once, back in college or something. And what I was expecting was, hail Satan, let's, you know, kill babies and stuff. But what it ended up being was more like, you know, trust in yourself and don't follow other people. And, you know, it was an individualistic thing. It was very rational.
Well,
so
I've never looked into really Satanism beyond what I've, you know, just randomly seen on the internet, like the actual satanic religion. But honestly, from what I have seen people talk about, is that their quote unquote religion, I guess it is a religion, but Honestly, the pillars that I've seen that people talk about of that are not nearly as bad as what I would call a satanic culture, just because, like you were saying, it's more individualistic as to where it's like you'll never hear a I've never heard a Satanist mention the greater good. And whenever someone mentions those words, the greater good, that is literally the reasoning that every worst crime against humanity has been plagued against. Whether it's Mao, Stalin, Hitler, it's all for the greater good. So whenever my one piece of advice, whenever you hear someone say it's for the greater good, recognize this person is pure evil, whether they realize it or not, and that nothing but tragedy is about to befall whatever the rest of their sentence is. But there's
Might
that
be onto something.
there's that thing that humans have. I mean, regardless of whether or not you believe in God, whether or not you're religious or spiritual, whatever the hippy dippy thing is now, is that the want to worship something, to believe in something, it is hardwired in us through thousands and thousands of years of evolution. And whether you are going to take that and put it into God, Jesus Christ, Satan, what's the owl god, Moloch or something?
Moloch.
Yeah, like that is always going, that hardwired is always going to be in us. So that's really, I think that's how we've gotten to where we are. Just look at the climate cultists at this point. And I'm like, is it not crazy to everyone that we're worried about a 2-degree temperature in the weather 100 years from now, and not that the entire ocean is filled with microplastic? Like I read an article, granted it's on the, it's an article from a news, so who knows, but supposedly each of us have eaten a credit card's worth of plastic just by existing, eating and drinking, because that's just how polluted our seas have become. And that's water is literally life.
The climate change thing is a hoax. But can I hop in and
Cold seasons.
Right.
I'm gonna piss off every libertarian ever. And,
Go ahead, Toons. Get it.
A lot of love to Keel. All right, nothing but respect for you, buddy. You said he's nothing but rational and he's pushing individualism, and I think maybe that is what Satanism is, right? Because I don't know, the saying is no man is an island, right? We're all a community, and I think when you go down this path of worshiping the self, you do very selfish things. I mean, it's just a given. There's another person in the Discord that likes to poke me and say that I want my wife to be a slave to me, and because I want my wife to raise my children. I want my wife to be happy and raise my children while I'm going out and providing for our family, and that is a enslavement that I've chosen, right? But I'm not living as an individual. I'm not living in the Satanist paradigm where do as thou wilt. Like, no, I will not do as thou wilt. I will provide for my family. I will wake up at 5 a.m. on a Sunday to hang gutters and sweat my balls off all day. So we have rainwater when the world goes to shit. That is a slavery. Like, being in a family is a slave. I've signed up for that contract to be a slave, and I think that's beautiful. I think that's why we are here. Like, the reason why we are here is because our ancestors go back as far as you want. Whether it's 6,000 years ago, if you're one of those guys, or whatever. If we came from monkeys, well, a long time ago, monkeys decided that I'm going to be a slave to my family, and I'm going to put meat on the table while my wife hangs a kid from her boob, and their children. That's why we're here. I don't see individualism as a moral good. I think it's at its root is selfish, right?
I think if I can chime in, I think it's a layered issue, right? So I think that liberty, having the choice, is important. And I also, I kind of think of what you're talking about, Toons, as an obligation as opposed to slavery, because slavery has, at least with me, the connotation of involuntary. And I think what you're doing is voluntary, but it's hard. You know, it's not always easy to be totally committed to your family, to wake up at 5 a.m. or 3 a.m. and whatever you do to provide for your family. But it's not about being easy. It's about the commitment. It's about you being committed to your wife and to your child and wanting to provide for them. But I definitely see that as an obligation that you have chosen, or a commitment that you have made when you don't have to do it. But if you don't do it, then I believe that there are spiritual consequences, if that makes sense. It's the same thing with, to me, as the abortion topic, that I believe that if people are going to do it, that they have the free will to make that decision. But I think you will be answering for it one day. Yeah.
I agree with you absolutely. Toons, you are not a slave. I don't think that's the definition of slavery at all. I mean, you man up and take care of your family. That's a choice. It's the right choice.
The right choice.
It is a choice. It is a choice, and I don't say slavery like in a negative context. It's the best form of slavery. But I was saying earlier in text that you're going to be a slave to something, whether it's whether it's the science, whether it's the Fauci, whether it's your box of wine and your 15 cats, or you choose to have a family and no matter what, you're a slave to something. So you may as well pick something wholesome. I don't say slave in a negative context on this in that context, but I do believe no matter what, you will be a slave to something. You pick a thing and that's what your thing is going to be.
It's not to get caught up on semantics. I think the technical word would be like indentured servitude, which absolutely, that is literally what you're signing up for.
Yeah.
Don't tell my wife. But yeah, I mean, that's it's been, what was it, 50s, 60s, when the government started actually making laws and programs that to detriment to the family, to a man and a woman in the household raising a child. And by a lot of metrics, you can go back and look at history, and that's really when everything started going off the rails. And I mean, the most obvious is just the Black culture, how everything has gone downhill by almost every metric since these welfare programs were put into place, where it's actually more productive for a woman gets more money by not being married and having children out of wedlock with multiple different partners than they would if it's 4, 5, 7 kids and their 2 parents living at home.
Yeah, and they get penalized for having the father there. They don't get as much help.
Also, if
benefits are lowered.
Huh?
If you talk about Black families in America, they suffered a lot from the CIA bringing crack cocaine into their neighborhoods and sort of ruining the fathers by bringing in lots of cheap drugs. So and that was a deliberate targeting of the Black community.
And
Possible.
Just ask the real Rick Ross, who spent a lot of time in prison and then came out and spoke lightly about it. But I interviewed him a number of years ago after he got out of prison, and he talked about how the CIA brought the crack and he was buying it directly from the federal government until they were done with him, and then they locked him up.
You know what the craziest part about the Rick Ross story is? This is off memory, so I could be wrong, but there's a rapper named Rick Ross that was rapping and gaining popularity off the notoriety of Rick Ross from Iran-Contra. And I believe the Iran-Contra Rick Ross sued the rapper Rick Ross and lost.
Yes.
Which is completely off topic, but just just so wild, man.
But yeah, because he didn't give him permission to use his name, and then he capitalized off that while he was in prison, which is totally nasty. But whatever.
That
Huh?
I'm hustling. That song, it gets me pumped up every time, man. So
I won't listen to his music just because of that, because he's a thief.
Yeah.
well,
So the federal government are all Satanists because of the welfare program, and the welfare state is Satanism, and let's get rid of it.
that started what, back in the 20s? Was it LBJ that was that got us into World War I, talking about, it wasn't the United Nations, but a literal one world government.
Woodrow Wilson with
Woodrow Wilson.
I forget what it was called. I forget what the original one was called.
LBJ started the war on poverty.
I mean, it's hard to keep straight. They're all just such.
Yeah, but if you look at the numbers, the poverty level is the same. And I heard a sense that it's even from back then. And I've heard a statistic that said that we've spent more on the war on poverty than every other war combined.
Oh, you can look this up, but I'm pretty sure if you look at the numbers in California that they have spent, the sheer money they have spent to fight homelessness in California alone is enough to buy every single man, woman, and child their own house.
Sheesh.
All those fake wars are designed to be lost, aren't they? Like the war on drugs and the war on cancer, which Nixon's died, and cancer is worse than ever now. So, they're just, it's just a boondoggle to spend loads of government money.
That's the thing. If you're getting paid $100,000 a year to fight homelessness, why would you ever fix it? I mean, and these people are making way more than $100,000 a year. Like, why would you ever work yourself out of your own well-paying jobs with the best benefits you could ever imagine?
Right. Anytime they have
That is the problem in a nutshell.
If they have a program that says the war on anything, you can bet that the war is going to be lost, it's going to be long, and it's going to achieve the exact opposite of what they're telling the public. Like the exact opposite. That is what you get.
That's just what Paul will tell you. Like when Ron Paul was in, he was congressman, right? Not or senator. He used to tell his staffers, like, read every bill and, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, this is going to take a really long time. He says, no. Just read what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriot Act, it's not going to be patriotic. Like it's the Affordable Health Care Act. You always just read it and it's going to be the opposite no matter what. And unfortunately, and there's really no way to stop this from
so I just looked up online. For California, the state is providing roughly $12 billion on homelessness programs over 2 years. The scope of the expanding program can be seen in the city budget. When Garcetti took office in 2013, the city was spending about $10 million treating homelessness. The budget he signed last year included about $1 billion.
And
you know what?
Did they solve homelessness?
No, it's just gotten
Into a
worse.
black hole.
Give me that money and I'll do better taking care of the homeless than they will.
Yeah, they don't care about that though. It's money. It's a money laundering. It's a thievery scheme. That's what it is. To steal the money from us. And
exactly.
also, I don't want to neglect Terry because he did come from England. So I would like to get a little bit of take from his perspective, even though he follows a lot of what we talk about with American politics. But I feel like they absolutely coincided, like the progressive movement. And that's another thing that, ties into the globalism has been basically the goal for a very long time is that there was a war on the traditional family, and I would say in England as well, but I would like to hear Terry's take on that.
I would say it's very similar. I mean, we follow America in a lot of things, and I think you guys are better off in many ways because People think that the UK doesn't have a written constitution. It actually does, but it's not in one document like you guys have got. And you've got, you know, a nice set of documents that you can look at and say, well, you shouldn't be doing this because this is contrary to this item of the constitution. And we've got documents that sort of protect our rights, and your documents are actually based on ours, but people have forgotten about it. So, you know, we're kind of in a worse situation. They're passing laws similar to what's happening in America, where they're trying to get rid of trial by jury, you know, so that you just some judge makes the decision. You can imagine what that's going to be like. So it's, you know, it's in a bad way. I don't really follow it quite as much, really. I'm a bit more plugged into what's going on to America these days because of you guys.
Well, unfortunately, we were really the trendsetters as far as government goes. I mean, I haven't looked at the numbers, but before the federal government declared a war on drugs, was marijuana illegal worldwide like it is now? I can't imagine.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. What I've heard about that is it's yet another Rockefeller initiative, because they were wanting to go after hemp. Because you could, you know, hemp was great in clothes, and you could build with it, and you could ferment it and use it to power your cars. So they wanted to sort of, yeah, it grows very quickly.
Well, you know, they literally, marijuana is called weed because it's literally a weed.
Mm-hmm.
Like it pops up anywhere and will grow really under any condition. Granted, the weed that we have now is grown under the best possible conditions with hydroponics and everything to artificially induce insanely high levels of THC. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I watched a documentary back in the, I don't know, late 90s, early aughts maybe. And it was on, I don't know, the History Channel or something. So who knows how accurate it was, but it was talking about drug laws in the United States and their origins. And it seemed like a lot of them were put into place in order to control different parts of the populace, you know, that were, you know, Mexicans or blacks or Chinese or whoever that were, you know, used a particular drug heavily. It was popular in that group. So in order to give the police a reason to be able to go in there and, you know, shake them up and, you know, keep them under control, they would pass these laws like marijuana laws or cocaine laws or whatever it was, opium laws, that would kind of, you know, knock them down a few pegs.
Well,
And then you know, they marketed it as this is an evil thing and this is bad for you and all that stuff, when, you know, they were handling it in their own way and they didn't need to pass laws about it.
Well, not to get too far off topic, but did you guys see that Brittany Griner, who was arrested in Russia for, I believe, having a THC cartridge?
Yep.
America, Biden, the federal government is offering to trade an arms dealer for Brittany Griner. And at the same time, we have hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people in America currently in jail for marijuana possession.
Yeah, but it's her and one other person, like some type of war hero, alleged hero or whatever. It's not just her, it's like her plus someone else that's part of the government. So he's just utilizing that as a group package.
Right. The other guy had been in jail for a couple of years already.
And I mean, I don't believe anyone should be in jail for victimless crimes. But especially in Russia, I gotta imagine prison in Russia is.
But still, that was her choice, knowing that the United States and Russia were at odds at this point in time, and she made the decision to put that in her suitcase and bring it over there. I mean, like, how stupid is that?
I could be wrong because I spend most of my day just listening to podcasts and everything gets mixed up. But I'm pretty sure that the guy we're trading for tried to sell someone a nuclear submarine. Someone
wow.
Wrong, but
really?
I believe that's what I heard.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
How
I
much
know.
was that?
The
I wouldn't
the
mind a
point.
big submarine. That sounds quite cool.
Don't
To the
get me
point
wrong,
that
I'd
one.
love to buy one if I had the money.
I'm gonna look it up really quick.
I know Brittany had played over in Russia several times before, so her I don't know what she's saying nowadays, like recently, but I know at one point she was saying she didn't know it was in there and acting kind of dumb about it. But
Honestly,
she's
I do
been
believe
over there plenty of times, so she knew what she was doing.
like, especially if you smoke a lot of weed and like if you carry the same bag with you like I have a range bag for my ammo and my gun and everything, and it's easy to forget, like maybe I got a box of 22 in the bottom, so it's easy, but I'm also an international traveler. The first thing I do is I take my backpack and I dump it upside down, because I don't want to get arrested in the Philippines for having a non-psychoactive CBD cartridge vape pen.
Mhm.
I take kratom every day. I believe kratom is legal in the Philippines. I still am not going to bring it there just in case. So it's just one, like, have some common sense, man.
Right.
It says that that Whelan, a U.S. citizen and former Marine, was detained at a Moscow hotel in December of 2018 and arrested on espionage charges, which he consistently and vehemently denies. He was convicted and sentenced in June of 2020 to 16 years in prison, and a trial U.S. official denounced as unfair.
Say that's all you get, 16 years for espionage?
Yeah, what happened to the firing squad?
Just look
I know. I thought they assassinate you, or maybe that's just here in the United States.
look at Julian.
We do not do firing squad anymore.
Well, he probably didn't say anything bad about Putin, so he didn't get poisoned.
I'll tell you what, motherfucker. Like, I'd much rather have Putin as my leader than Joe Biden. Or Donald Trump, for that matter, to be quite frank.
Putin's the only one that doesn't actively hate his people.
Well, and here's the thing. Russia, they're going to tell you what you can and can't do, you know?
Yeah.
And just
Tell you
to
what, I wish I'd put all my money into rubles a few months ago. I'd be well off now.
Has value of the ruble gone up?
You know,
Oh, hugely, yeah, because it's almost gold backed. It's commodity backed, at least, because it's the only real currency in the world now.
the rubles, it's at like 40-year highs right now. And I keep seeing Western articles like trying to tell me how horrible the Russian economy is. It's like, don't tell me the Russian economy is fucked because McDonald's doesn't sell you a McDouble anymore.
They have what is it? The Das Vidania McDouble now.
And even that you
Is
saw.
that right?
I don't know. I mean, all the McDonald's locations over in Russia where McDonald's says we're not doing stuff over there anymore. They just flipped them to like some Russian company bought them, and now they're just producing the same stuff that they had before.
And our media started pumping out articles like someone in Russia posted a picture of these moldy, Big Mac, and it's like I'm old enough to remember over the last 20 years seeing Facebook posts saying, "Look at this cheeseburger I bought from McDonald's. It's just been sitting here for 10 years and it looks exactly the same."
Yep. Or the finger in the Wendy's chili. Remember that story?
Right?
No, gross.
Unbelievable.
I want to jump back to this Whelan guy really quick, if you don't mind.
Please.
Okay, so it says Whelan told reporters that the espionage charge involved accusations that he was working for the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency when he obtained a flash drive from a friend containing the names of Russian border guards. Now, it says at the time of his arrest, he was the head of a global security for a U.S.-based car parts firm, blah, blah, blah. And then when I look up his Wikipedia, his citizenship is Canada, Ireland, UK, and US. Now, you can't tell me he's not part of the CIA. He's got to be a part of the CIA.
Sounds like Jason Bourne.
I believe Victor Bout, Victor B-O-U-T is last. I think that might have been who I was thinking of.
Okay.
I could be. It's
Aren't
like
they going to do some sort of? They're going to do some sort of spy swap now, aren't they? They're going to swap some prisoner that America's got.
yeah.
For the.
Yep.
I imagine it's going to be like the old spy films. They'll drive up in 2 cars at night and they'll walk towards each other over the bridge.
Right.
Cool.
I want to point something out kind of ironic. So Toons was like how he was like denouncing libertarianism, kind of. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but you're literally wearing a t-shirt that says Ron Paul the
It's got a
Libertarian.
Ron Paul t-shirt. I saw that.
I subscribe to the Good Doctor. I don't subscribe to the DGen. We'll say that.
Yeah. And
You can't see the bottom of his t-shirt. It actually says Ron Paul is crap.
You're right.
You know.
I also subscribe to the Good Doctor because he says one of my favorite things that I feel like it makes it easy to understand what's happening in this country, that you have a country that is financially bankrupt and you have a country that is spiritually, or I believe he says morally bankrupt. And he believes that by giving people more freedom that you will have, I think, better values. And that makes sense to me. And I think as you descend into authoritarianism, that you see more and more of this type of, the degenerate behavior, this really, really unhealthy stuff. And to circle back to our kind of original topic, I believe that the war on us and the goal of making that happen has been taking place for a long time. And if you look at these sort of satanic themes in music and rock and roll, I mean, I think PQ he talks about that a fair amount, I think, of the, the satanic panic in the 80s. And I believe that he said they were right. The people that were worried about that were right. And then if you start looking at pop culture, it's been more and more and more normalized. Some really, really dark stuff. And I have a couple of examples that I want to throw out there, and then I want to hear what y'all have to say about it. But one of them, there's a website called The Vigilant Citizen. I think some of y'all probably know, but they cover like a lot of the occult looking symbolism that you see in Hollywood. So a lot of the one-eyed weird symbolism. I mean, and I think there is no way that is by accident. It happens over and over and over and over and over and over. And I don't pretend to understand, the Freemasons or the Illuminati or any of that stuff. I don't know. How would you know unless you're involved in it? And I know a lot of people, Isaac Weishaupt has studied a lot of that and probably have a better take on it. But I think, so they call a lot of that out with visuals. And I think that's very fascinating to see. Then Jonathan Pajot did a video breaking down 2 very satanic pop culture things. One of them was the show WandaVision. She's literally the Red Witch. And there's just a ton of very weird stuff in that. And one of them was the fact that she was the heroine of the show, but yet she created her own reality and held people prisoner. Sorry, spoiler alert if anybody hasn't seen WandaVision.
I have not.
Then
I was actually going to ask you if it was good and if I should watch it.
If you're into the Marvel stuff. But then the other thing that I wanted to point out was the Terry had mentioned her, Marina Abramovic, and she did this super weird, creepy Microsoft commercial. And so maybe we can link it, maybe we can find it, but the point is that it's everywhere. If you start looking, it has been totally, it did, but it's been totally normalized. This satanic imagery has been totally normalized in culture. And I believe that is part of the, the brainwashing campaign to get this degenerate culture where we're at now.
Maybe a tease for the next episode, but I would say there's
Sorry. Sorry.
Tease for the next episode. Maybe there also is a war on masculinity and manhood in general. Sorry, Terry.
Yes.
Definitely, yeah. I was also going to circle back and talk about. You could certainly make an argument that a lack of religion in modern society is a problem, because I don't think things like the COVID craziness would have happened, you know, if people were looking for something to kind of believe in and something to promote, and they jumped on the back of this COVID thing, and they had in this to save granny, and it's just 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And in Britain, they're out there bashing pots and pans, you know, to celebrate the doctors and the nurses. It was all pretty distasteful. So I think people are looking for meaning, and they're kind of finding it through these crazy, you know, wars or COVID or whatever the government or the elites come up with as their latest crazy plan.
Yeah, or they find meaning in worshiping of themselves. You know, their identity is, I'm a queer whatever teacher that likes to whatever hang their queer flag. That's not an identity. That's just you're weird. You know, like, sorry, but that's just weird. People worship the science, people worship the gender, people worship the whatever. I mean, in at its root is Satanism, right? Because you're worshiping something weird about yourself.
Of this world.
Okay.
I don't know if the average person in the street, you know, is satanic. I just don't think they believe it very much now, you know, because religion has kind of lost credibility for them, you know. I mean, I'm not a big fan of traditional religions myself, but I think of myself as a spiritual person.
I think it's a lot of our problems today stem from what you guys are saying, in that the government actively seeks to grow. I mentioned this last podcast. I think it's a natural function of this large system to try to take over different aspects of our civilization. And a lot of it has to do with gobbling up and replacing things like churches and families, and relying on the community and yourself to try to work through life's hurdles. And when the government can give you a solution that you don't have to fight for or work for, then you're missing out on a huge life lesson there. And maybe that's kind of like draining your soul away. You aren't having to, you know, you don't have to talk to your family about stuff because the government gives you money for it, or you don't have to go to church to learn about, you know, what is the right way to do things in life. You don't have those kind of, you know, moral principles that are taught to you from those sources. So the point I'm trying to get here is I think this is just happening more and more, and it's causing the downfall. And in my opinion, it's not necessarily Satanism, and I don't think libertarianism is something that can't work fine with good moral society. I will say that individualism can be taken to an extreme, and certainly to Toons' point, it's, you know, you can have people that are going to end up being libertines, not libertarians, and that they don't understand that you have to have boundaries in life, and you have to think about the other people in the world, because they're living there too, and they have the same kind of rights and natural rights that you do. So you have to bounce off of those boundaries. But like you said, people are going to ignore that, and they're just going to be evil, you know. Mm-hmm. But the core, I think the core idea behind libertarianism is that you allow people to do their own thing, but you got to worry about you have to do right by yourself. And there's it's not anyway. That's about it. I mean, it's
let me ask you real quick.
yeah.
Is this current culture created, and is it created by a group of people? Who is the they?
I don't have an answer to that. At this point, I think it's
$6 million question.
yeah. Who knows the answer to that, really? God would know, I suppose.
Well, and I think that's because I like the waiver back to the libertarianism things. I think a lot of people interpret the non-aggression principle as being way too vague. When someone is encroaching on how you want to live life, that is absolutely a violation of aggression. And I know Toons wanted to get into libertarianism and just how dumb it is in today's, I will say, culture as well as society, government, all of the above. And I don't think it really works at this point.
Yeah, the podcaster Pete Quinones, who was a big sort of a big wheel in the libertarianism movement, it seems to have kind of abandoned libertarianism altogether because of that. And he's not a great believer in the non-aggression principle now, because he's basically saying, these people on the left seem to want to kill me, and I have to do something about it. You can't be letting them, I can't be letting them, teach this poisonous stuff to my children, or, destroy my community, and just sort of sitting back and being non-aggressive about it. It's not good enough.
What were you going to say, Toons?
That's more or less where I'm at with libertarianism in general. And not for nothing, I mean, when COVID lockdowns hit, where were you? I mean, if that's not an act of aggression, I don't know what is. To tell me I cannot go to work,
right?
Yeah.
Essential. Like, what kind of wild ego do you have to tell another person that how they bring money home to their family is or isn't quote unquote essential? Eat all the dicks, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Who do you think you are?
They know they're the big dick swinging, and they know they have us by the balls.
Well, you got me there.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's, you guys are all right, but I think we shouldn't trash libertarianism if it can't be applied, rationally in today's society. That's one thing, but I think the concepts that create that kind of that political ideology, we should still keep them in mind, and we should try to find a way to it.
Can I take that and let me ask Toons and everyone else here, what do you think is the solution to tyrannical seems to be an understatement at this point of what they're trying to do to everyone's lives on the planet. Like, what do you think the solution is? Just getting a little property in the corner and just doing what you can for your own family?
I couldn't tell you what the solution is. I am grinding, stacking wood, collecting rainwater, getting the birds. And I tell my wife, if somebody comes knocking on the door, you shoot first and ask questions later. But I do not have a solution. But the idea that this is tyrannical is an understatement. They are actively trying to starve us out. Like, Europe is going to have a cold, hungry winter. There's going to be death. There's going to. I mean, it's I don't have the words to explain. Like, this is a nightmare. We're living in a nightmare. I mean, strap up and get some chickens, boys.
There's something that Isankan had said one time. He was like, I really love all these food preppers that don't own any guns for the rest of us that can come and take it. Although I can't say that is what any of us would do, because we are not thieves. But it was just kind of funny. Justin saying my audio is a little echo, but I don't know. Anyhow, I'll work it out for the next one. But the other thing I just wanted to shout out is Cam's website. If you want to give that to us, Justin, because he does have a shirt and a mask and some other stuff that says something like "The war on us is the war on drugs is a war on us." So
yeah, it's at libertygear.net. It has some random shirts, embarrassingly face masks, hoodies. If you want to support Ukraine, I do have some Azov Battalion hoodies up for but I'm hoping in the next several months I'm going to have everything completely revamped. But like Toons is my hero. He's up at 5 a.m. installing gutters on his house to collect rainwater so that he can prepare his family. I can barely get my ass out of the door at 7:45 to make it to work at 8. So keep everything I say with a grain of salt. Toons is the real hero, sure.
So we're coming up on our hour. Is there any last thing that anybody would like to just close off with today?
Well,
Peace and love. Peace and love.
if no one has anything, let me throw my white pill in real quick. Like Ashley was saying, I'm also a Ron Paul devotee. Because here's the number one thing Ron Paul will tell you is that central planning has not, cannot, will not work. So if you take that to the logical conclusion, you look at Klaus Schwab, you look at the World Economic Forum, the Bilderberg Group, whatever globalist, just to bring it back, I do believe that what they wanted to start at World War I was literally called the New World Order, which is just crazy. But central planning cannot work. The economy, people's lives, everything. It is way too complex for a group of elites to think that they can sit there on their fucking mountain in Switzerland and plan out for the rest of us. It cannot work. So what you need to do is take care of your family, man. That's all there is to it. Family, community, God. Like, you got to have your priorities straight. And the main reason I believe in God is so that these evil motherfuckers will be able to get what they deserve in the long run.
You're 100% correct about the central planning. And another white pill to touch on that too is our enemies as a whole are actively pushing everything they can do to breed themselves out of population. You know, it's shout your abortion, it's trans your children, it's take your vaccine. They will not win. I mean, everybody knows they won't win. It's going to be ugly, and the rest of our lifetimes might be hard, but for our children and grandchildren, it will be, you know, a new world order in the greatest sense of that, because they're actively castrating themselves, they're actively killing their babies, they're pushing ideology that is anti-human. So be a human, be a strong human, you know, men be men, and you know, take care of your own. And there is a happy ending to the story.
Well, I hope
Every
so.
guy likes a good happy ending.
Yeah, it's and let me finish that off with, if you're a man, find a woman that is good, and if you're a woman, find a man that's good and is not going to fuck around with you. Make babies, teach them well. I mean, like I said, I've never read the Bible, but read the Bible. Take the lessons that it imparts, because whether you believe it's literal or not, the lessons that it tells you are timeless. It's nothing than something that's going to help you in the long run. Be fruitful and multiply. Fuck these elites. We will win in the long run.
And I would say get a physical copy of the Bible if you're going to read it. So that way, because they can always change to digital, just like they do other books. So,
well, Darth Vader does read the Audible version. James Earl Jones, He does the Audible version. It's really, really long though, so I haven't done it. Like it's longer than Atlas Shrugged, believe it or not.
Sheesh.
I know, it's crazy.
That took me 4 years to read.
I'm saying it.
Ashley, Keel, Terry.
Yeah, I like the sentiment. I think that, you know, he wins. I think we know that. I think that, and I truly believe this, libertarian, not libertarian, whatever. I believe that we are in a spiritual battle right now. And the decisions that we make, the conversations that we have, that stuff matters. That is what they do not want. They don't want people, just like we said here, they don't want people that are actively working on the family. They don't want people that do not buy what they're selling. And I am also, I think if you look at, you know, there are memes out there that are like, hey, if you survive the last, you know, almost 3 years now without taking medical procedure, with the amount of propaganda, with the societal pressure, with all of the NPCs just rent constantly, without doing that, with standing your ground, that matters. You know, where we're at, we're not buying it. So, and I don't refer to them as elites. I call them the predator class, and we're not buying it. We know what you people are up to, and I believe we're in a spiritual war. And I think that, you know, we need to do work. And I think that what we're doing here matters. And back to, you know, the conversation about the family, your family matters. Not listening to all of the lies about overpopulation this and, you know, medical tyranny that, and all that stuff, all that is so important. So I just want to I want to give people hope that there are other people out there that are standing strong with you. And it matters.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a good white pill is this that we're doing. I mean, this is new. We've created something, and that means we're making progress, right?
Well, and I know that we're.
Yeah, I'm not a Christian, but I want to say amen, brothers and sisters. You know, what we're doing is good, and it's symbolic of the resistance that, particularly in America, you know, a lot of people are showing that people aren't really going for the vaccines for the children at all. They're not going for their extra boosters, you know. And the thing about the predator class, I agree with Ashley, you shouldn't really call them elites because they're no better than we are, is that, you know, that their plan's gone a bit awry, really, because they've ended up attacking the people that are following them very closely. They're just going to end up with a load of troublemakers like us left behind if they're not careful. And, you know, I don't think their evil plans will succeed in the end. So, but there'll be tough times ahead. I think we'll come through it in the end.
And on that note, if you look at the polls, the trust in the media and the elites and the politicians, they're all at all-time record lows. So,
yeah,
doing the right thing.
We are. Let's keep doing it.
Let's keep doing it.
Anybody else have anything else to say? I do want to close out with one thing, but does anybody else have anything else to say?
I just wonder if we're literally in the time of the Antichrist, but we can go into that topic next time.
Okay. I just want to say one thing is, like, for those that do believe in like a higher being, God, a creator, someone that created us, it's like, my thing is, if God was able to create us, create the earth, create the universe, create all this stuff, why can't, and he's the God of restoration. That's why I think climate change is more about control and bullcrap, because if you really do believe that there is a creator, why can't that creator then turn around and restore whatever damages our dumb cells are doing to the earth? He's able to do that, and stuff has a tendency to regenerate. If that wasn't the case, then when we cut ourselves, our body wouldn't regenerate and heal itself. So if our bodies can do that, the earth can do it too. That's all.
It's
You
just
guys,
the arrogance that they push with the climate change, that humans can kill the earth is unbelievable. It's just
Yeah, I
big
really
one.
liked it when you said that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. This has been another episode of Union of the Unknowns, and just a bunch of crazy kids that came together through Discord. And stay tuned for our next episode in a couple weeks. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
See you guys later. Good to see you
Thank
guys.
you. Bye.
Love you all.
Love you.
Bye.
Love you too.
Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Union of the Unknowns. You can find a new episode every month on all your favorite podcasting networks.